So in this update, they've made some things, or they made some updates that they haven't told the general public about. So, I did mention this in the previous update, but the dummy boss, or the tutorial boss, internally as it's called, does have its new icon now. And yes, this is actually the exact same icon as the brute. As you can see, the brute, that's its icon, and if you go all the way to the tutorial boss, it is the same. In fact, what's interesting is that the tutorial boss, aka dummy boss, is faster. So, if you really do think about it, the dummy boss is faster than the brute. So technically speaking, right, you could consider the dummy boss to be stronger. No, it's just not. It's just faster. Of course, the dummy boss has no abilities, while the brute does have an ability. Now, actually, this ability, one of its abilities, is actually a reference to the original brute. So the ability where the dummy boss, right, can pick up some rocks and then throw it at the towers. And, well, it splits up into 4. That's actually a reference to the original brute. So, back in the day, this brute here, it could pick up a rock and then fling it at a tower, which could break into 4, and it would stun them for a period of time, which is near enough the same ability that this brute does. However, this brute is actually based on the tank. Well, the original version of the tank. We're going to have to go back far back for this one. So, this version of the tank and this version of the tank could throw some rocks at enemies, or sorry, towers, which would break up into pieces of 4 or 8, I don't remember. But it's like near enough the same ability that this brute has, except obviously this one is more refined than this one. This one's like used Roblox textures, and you could actually, back in the day, I do remember, back in the day, you could actually manipulate the rocks. So you could stand in front of the rocks with your character, like your actual physical character, and block the rocks, which is like the only time in the game when the player could actually interact with an enemy's ability to prevent it like stunning towers. Now, it doesn't really say, but I think this was the case up until the tank got its rock throw ability removed, which was, I believe, the overhaul update. But I do like the fact that this ability is a nice reference to that. Additionally, this ability can also target units. This isn't the only ability that can target units. I believe the Gravedigger can also target units through its rock fling ability. And I believe some other event enemies can, but it's really unique in the sense that it can actually do that. Now, this is just for reference. The brute logbook is actually different to the dummy boss logbook. You need to get either both of them to actually unlock them. You can't get one to get the other, unlike, say, the Fallen King modern variant and the Fallen King legacy variant. No, they are completely separate enemies, the tutorial boss and the brute. So, you still require to grind out tutorial mode 60 times, or 60 times-ish for the tutorial boss. I managed to get it on like the 44th try or something, I don't know. And also, there is now 5 pages in the index. So if you have the Frost Spawner or all of the enemy logbooks, I'm missing one, the Mutagenic Blight, it does carry over into the next page now. So that means, yeah, we now have 5 pages. They still haven't managed to fix this one though, so yeah, very cool. Another thing that they've done in this update is actually changed the spawning things from patient 0. So, does it show here? No, it doesn't. Okay, so it is random. And I haven't managed to get this, huh? It's just my luck, eh? Okay, got it. Right, okay, so the patient 0 has been changed so it can spawn in the giant boss. Now, the thing with the giant boss is, it's a legacy enemy, so if you were to search up giant boss in the enemy section, it would only appear under legacy. So, as you can see here, giant boss. Now, this appears to be a change made in this update, because previously you couldn't actually see this, but the giant boss doesn't actually appear in intermediate mode, which is the only game mode where patient 0 now appears. Patient 0 is only meant to summon in the ghoul and the slime, and I think one other enemy. Oh, and the Reaver. Meanwhile, the giant boss isn't meant to appear because, again, the giant boss only appears in Legacy Fallen mode and Hardcore mode, interestingly. This enemy is not meant to appear in the game for like regular game modes anymore because it's outdated. However, just this once with the patient 0, you can actually get the giant boss. And if you don't have hardcore mode enabled, or like if you're under the level of 50, which is where you can play hardcore mode to get the giant boss, and it does appear in a challenge, but challenges are locked to level 50 and above. This patient 0 is the only way to get the giant boss to spawn in naturally in the modern game modes, and therefore for anyone under the level of 50, this is the only way to get the giant boss logbook, which is very interesting. I don't know why it's a change in this update specifically, because it's not appeared anywhere elsewhere. It's not like it was related to easy mode or what was it, the easy mode changes or the mini rework for casual mode either. But yeah, that's really weird. So yeah, patient 0, I don't believe you can get its easy or the casual mode variants spawn in anymore. So this is casual mode. If I spawn in patient 0, nope, that's towers. If I spawn in patient 0, would it spawn in with 60,000 health? No, it doesn't. Okay, so they've fully disabled the casual mode version of Patient Zero because it no longer appears in this game mode. Very cool. Also, in casual mode, Patient Zero was meant to... Oh god, okay, I chose the wrong thing. So in casual mode, Patient Zero was meant to spawn in the hazmat, but it didn't because of a typo. Now, the updated Gravedigger, I'd have the legacy modifier. If I were to disable that, then it would work probably. But yes, in the modern version of casual mode, the Gravedigger can spawn in the hazmat if it worked properly. Now, this just proves that the legacy Gravedigger actually does work. However, if you were to swap it out for the modern variant, it actually doesn't work. Or have they fixed it? No, they haven't fixed it. So, yes, as you can see here, the Gravedigger is just stuck like this, spawning in forever. When it first does its summon ability, and it cannot move any elsewhere, it just does this forever. Now, I think it's because when the change to casual mode happened, the developers kind of messed it up. So the Gravedigger is meant to spawn in the hazmat 20% of the time, the normal boss 50% chance of it being spawned in, and the enraged 20% chance of it being spawned in. These were the original statistics for the Patient Zero in casual mode. However, this has been transferred over to the Gravedigger. However, it appears as if the developers have glitched it. Now, there's no need to place down towers. People have said that, oh, the sledger caused it to get stuck, or the electrical caused it to get stuck. No, it's actually no towers. It's just due to the fact that with the Patient Zero code for the summoning has been transferred over to the Gravedigger, it seems as if somewhere along the lines it broke and the Gravedigger is now stuck in this permanent position of summoning about, I don't know, this long into the path, because it always summons around this time. Yeah, so as you can see, it can get 0 buffs and 0 damage, and it can still get stuck. So no, it's not tower related at all. And the developers, surprisingly, have not instantly fixed it. So technically, you can actually wait out this infinite timer. Now, I did actually report on this a while ago, but you can actually wait out an infinite timer. It's just that it is extremely long. So last time I did it, it was like, I calculated it as 2 weeks, but actually it was meant to be 9 days or something. But yes, as you can see, I've waited out for 1,000 time scale, and the timer now actually counts down. Now, I don't know how long it actually is. I think it was about 1,500 minutes, which is actually an entire day. So I don't think you can actually wait out an entire day, for 2 days or so, for the Gravedigger to go down. But with this glitch, it now means you're now possible to get an infinite timer waiting out, which was impossible after the changes of infinite timers on all boss waves, apart from the final one. So now you can see the results of what happens if you wait out an infinite wave. The problem is, I don't think anyone's going to wait that long. So apparently you have to wait out 2 days for an infinite timer to end. I did my calculations wrong. It's not. I actually added in an extra 0 by accident. And there's a video idea, waiting out an infinite timer, all 2 days or something. But we'll have to see how legitimate it is. It feels like it's being possessed or something, you know? Like, once if I go back to 1. Oh, the lightning's gone. Huh. I've managed to glitch the Gravedigger to the point where the lightning has gone. Huh. Right. What happens if it reaches 0? Oh, nothing. Okay. So it reaches 0. Okay. Is that it? Wave reward done, and time left 0, 0. So I'd assume at this point, if this was a regular game mode, you would have completed it completely. But yeah, that's probably a video idea. Waiting out an infinite timer for 1 day, hey? Let's see that. And they've just fixed it. Okay, so there goes my idea of making the Gravedigger infinite timer glitch. Right, so if I were to go into Gravedigger now, would it work? Ta-da. Let's see, 10. So to do it. Okay, now it works. Okay, so it now summons properly. Well, the developers say they fixed it. It only does its summon ability. It does have another ability where it digs into the ground, but it doesn't seem to do that anymore. In fact, it has 3 abilities. It's digging into the ground ability and the fact that it can stomp. But for some reason, the developers have decided to only fix the fact that the grave digging ability, which now summons in enemies, a lot of them at that rate. So, I mean, technically the Gravedigger is still bugged, but fair enough. It's close enough. At least it doesn't stay there forever, which is annoying because that goes my video idea of waiting a day to try out the game, but oh well. I wonder if anyone's actually waited that out. It'll be interesting to see. Now, here is something that I never knew until Menton told me about this, or I told Menton about this. So, the molten corpse of the toxic actually has its own separate ability to the molten corpse, to the toxic ability itself. So, as you can see, the toxic fumes from the toxic has gone away. But if you were to kill this molten corpse, which I never knew about, it would actually spawn in the fumes. So, right, okay, so get rid of that. Timescale it to 10. Place down another electroshocker to get the fumes up. And as you can see, as we kill the molten corpse, the ability where it can spawn in the toxic cloud to heal other enemies was the same. Now, actually, I did test this out, and it's the same for the boomerang. Right, so I've got the boomer out, and okay, probably should timescale it to 1 to see this more accurately. So, as you can see, the boomer is now in its corpse state. But if it gets killed again, it does another bile boom again, and it stuns this electroshocker. So it seems like the molten corpse does inherit death abilities from the original enemy. This includes the boomer, this includes the toxic, which is cool, I guess, but makes them dangerous. And finally, there's actually a glitch where the molten corpses plus toxic are actually immune to the engineer. This is the first time I've ever seen the molten corpse plus toxic thing actually have an effect on a tower where it cannot damage it at all. For some reason, the engineer just cannot damage this, which is really weird. Even if I go timescale 1000 and it shoots like 1,000,000 times, this is invincible against this engineer, this poor engineer. Now, I cannot seem to explain why this is the case, because it's not like it's a hitbox thing or anything. So, for example, if I were to put down an executioner, this would be able to damage it, as you can see there. Another tower that's like hitbox based is the Rocketeer, which is able to damage it. Then the Trapper, for example, is the Trapper able to damage it? Let's see. Yeah, the Trapper is able to damage it. So, I don't know why. It's just the engineer itself. I don't know. The Snowballer, can the Snowballer damage it? Yeah, the Snowballer can even damage it. I don't even know. The Paintballer, right? The Paintballer. The Paintballer against the Molten Corpse Toxic is more OP than the engineer. I do believe the sentries that come from the engineer can damage it. But if it's just the engineer and you can't get another enemy in range, it's going to be AOL, because the engineer can only build sentries if it damages, but because it can't damage this molten corpse, it's just useless. Wait, but it can now, huh? Okay, that's really odd. Why was it not able to damage the molten corpse initially, but it can damage it when it's damaged? That's odd. Right, let's see this again. So if I were to place down an engineer after the toxic spawns in. Huh, so it only seems as if there's like a glitch where if the molten corpse is damaged, then the engineer can damage it itself. But then the scout did it, but then it... What? Hold on, this is so weird. So... what's the glitch here? How is the engineer sometimes able to damage it, but other times it's not able to damage it? Okay, I got it. Right. So I think until the molten corpse is damaged by a tower, then any newly placed engineers can deal damage to it, but the original engineer can't, which is really odd. Now, this does beg the question, does it affect all hitbox-based towers, or is it just, say, the engineer? Let's see. No, it does seem to be the engineer for some reason. Like the engineer is like impervious to the toxic. Why is that the case? I don't know. Again, it just seems to be the toxic only, whereas for anything else, for like the super toxic even, the engineer is able to damage it, which is super odd. But yeah, those are the things that I've noticed in my recent travels of grinding out logbooks in Polluted Wastelands 2 and easy mode and casual mode for that Gravedigger glitch.